Well, there's now newscasts where special forces are training with local police basically for house raids, snatch and grabs, gun confiscations in South Carolina. We now learn the Jade Helm commander is actually over a plan for a domestic takeover. That's all on Infowars.com with the videos and the documents. But don't worry, George Bush told us 9 years ago there was no illegal NSA spying, period, inside the U.S. And now Senator Marco Rubio, the darling of the Republican neocons and rhinos, has come out and said there is no spying. Just period. It's just not happening. And the NSA has come out and said they need more domestic surveillance. In fact, a GOP senator has come out and said domestic surveillance needs to be ramped up. 80% of your phone calls and everything else is recorded on record. Totally illegal. Clapper said there was just none of this happening. And his lawyer came out and said, well, when he said that, he didn't know about the program. He just headed up the National Security Agency. Of course, everybody knows that that's as big a lie as Bill Clinton saying he didn't have sex with that woman. It's all games. And our story is linked on drudgereport.com. Special forces train with cops for house-to-house raids. And then they admit under Northcom that is their new mission. But here is the senator. This is worse than Obi-Wan Kenobi saying these aren't the droids you're looking for. Move along. Move along. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Move along. But, we laugh at that. We're not, the listeners of this show and other people, a large percentage, but not a majority, are not in a total suspended disbelief dreamland. I mean, this is the formula, and Marvel Comics admits it, where they'll put out the first Thor, and it's silly, it's for kids, but it's entertaining and well done. And then every subsequent one is just basically a video game on the screen with CG. I mean, they use video game programs. They used to do a fight scene with video game characters. They even have the lines on their arms and legs, from the computer game. It's because the public accepts it. And then each one gets dumber. I went and saw the new Avengers. Unwatchable. My two children laughed at it the whole time. It was just over-the-top bad acting, over-the-top stupid. The first Captain America. The second one, Winter Soldier, pretty well done. Good acting. Really first-rate movies. I talked to folks in Hollywood. They said the next one coming out is going to be just like the others, just totally screwed up and over-the-top stupid. And they're doing that on purpose to basically dumb down the public. You give people dumb art, it makes them dumb. But see, you say, what does this have to do with the takeover? It's suspended disbelief. The public, after just a few minutes, they found this in major studies, you can look them up, once you've gotten acclimated to go into suspended disbelief, for those who don't know what suspended disbelief is, or what happens to your brain waves under it, do you like kids making noise or running around when you're watching your favorite TV show? No. You want to put them to bed, and then you want to get in there. It's like 9 o'clock at night. Close the door, close the windows. So you don't hear the planes flying over or whatever, or cars honking. And you get in bed and you turn your favorite TV show on. You get some popcorn. Right? Even I sometimes watch movies or TV. And that's what you do. That's because you want to get into suspended disbelief. But I got to watch something like The Godfather that's like so good it's like reality. Or I've got to watch Full Metal Jacket. I've got to see something by a master director and master actors that can bring me into it. Suspended disbelief is a willingness to suspend one's critical faculties and believe the unbelievable sacrifice of realism and logic for the sake of enjoyment. And Joseph Goebbels, I've read his writings, the Nazi propaganda minister, he said to the Nazi high command in the propaganda division, the Gruppenführer, or Gruppenführer. You can read these writings. Just search Joseph Goebbels' writings on propaganda like Scrib, and you can read hundreds of pages of it. And you go, oh my gosh, that's what they're doing now. And his contemporary in the U.S. was the nephew of Sigmund Freud, who wrote the book Propaganda, Edward Bernays. And they had a plan when they took the U.S. over. They wanted to kill Bernays, because they also wanted to kill H.G. Wells because they were contemporary propagandists with a global government plan, and Goebbels hated them. But that's a side issue. They were competing propagandists, all three of them. And he says, don't make the propaganda fancy or complex, because that makes the mind think complex, and it hits synapses that will then identify it as bull. Don't make it a puzzle. Make it real stupid, real dumbed down, and real loud. And then people will buy into it. That's the bigger the lie, the more they'll believe it. Because it's just so over the top. It's the whopper. It's like, if you're going to steal big. Steal $1 billion, they make you a senator. Steal $100, they put you in the pen. So they're all over the news still saying there is no NSA spying on you. It's all metadata. No, metadata is phone records. Billy called Jenny. Jenny called Carol. Carol called Wilbur. I mean, it's been declassified that for 20 years at least, the DEA runs the domestic NSA system and is flagging people that look like they're buying more stuff than they're actually making money to the IRS illegally, without warrants. Flagging people they think are dealing drugs from the phone call records. Then they go make up a fake case to go before a judge. The judge knows it's all fake. It's called parallel construction. I mean, they go and perjure themselves in every major case. They've had heads-up computer displays for at least 6 years at the threat fusion centers where you are in live time, they hit one button and there you are. They hit another button, the phone turns on, even if it's off, doesn't look like it's on, and sends them the audio back or the video. Do you understand? I knew about this 20 years ago and people didn't believe me. Now it's old hat. And the DEA doesn't care if you're in a car or a train and you are a well-known local arborist. This case happened in Houston a few years ago. The guy won his lawsuit. Most people just roll over. And he was flying down from North Carolina to Houston. You can pull up the case, and every year for over a decade, he would bring cash because he got a discount. They weren't hiding it. It was after tax money. The other person was paying the stupid taxes. No one even alleged any of that, to buy the trees he was getting out of Texas that would then be shipped. But he came and picked the trees he wanted, hand-selected, then they were loaded on 18-wheelers. Well, they just took his, I think it was like $85,000, and he said, no, I'm going to buy trees. And they said, sorry, we're taking it. You see, this is where we live. Oh, but we're not going into martial law. But don't worry. The senator says there is no spying, get used to it, just shut up. There is no Jade Helm. There are no open borders. Even though the Border Patrol comes out and says we complete the smuggling process, we load them on planes and cars and give them money and send the Democratic Party facilities to be given voting cards, ID cards, within 1 month. Total criminal felonies, organized crime, racketeering, takeover. Oh, but there's no threat. The Army just admits their main enemies, the gun owners. But see, they don't want to debate about this because we forced a debate on TPP. The Senate just voted it down. Senate votes against fast-tracking TPP. Huge victory. Doesn't mean we won the war. We just won this battle. We got the moral high ground. What the globalists are doing is so over the top, it's ridiculous. But then the senator, presidential candidate, comes out and says, the sky's not blue. Here it is.
The perception has been created, including by political figures that serve in this chamber, that the United States government is listening to your phone calls or going through your bills as a matter of course. That is absolutely categorically false. The next time that any politician, senator, congressman, talking head, whatever it may be, stands up and says that the U.S. government is listening to your phone calls or going through your phone records, they're lying. It just is not true. Except for some very isolated instances, in the hundreds, of individuals for whom there is reasonable suspicion that they could have links to terrorism.
And then he provides no proof. That man is an enemy of this country. He is a bald-faced liar. He makes me want to throw up. We're going to go to break, come back and go to your phone calls, and then I'm going to get to a bunch of other video clips of military training to invade your house with the police. I cannot believe the lies. I mean, incredible. I was told by a law enforcement person 15, 16 years ago about how they have these heads-up displays, how they could track everything in live time. And it's like a cult of lying. They get them in there, and then they go, okay, you're in the cult now. Don't tell the public. And then people leave the cult and tell us, and we have everything and the documents and even how to run all this stuff, and they just say it doesn't exist. And Rubio gets up there with his... Ancestry.com, it's come out, shares your DNA with the police. When you go to any major hotel or rent car, it runs through the police database. This is all admitted. I had a high-level Time Warner engineer at my office 18 years ago, opening up a Scientific Atlantic cable box to show me the camera and the microphone. The microphone at that time. 2 years later, the hidden camera. It was before video games, interactive. It was all wired in. People in Australia found cameras in the damn boxes. Samsung admits they watch and listen to you now with the smart TV in the terms of service. But don't worry, Marco Rubio said, get in people's faces. See, they want to get the ignorant mass of people in our face saying we're liars. We'll go to your phone calls when we come back. Don't forget the new InfoWarsLife.com product is out. It's ProstaGuard. It's amazing. Find details at InfoWarsLife.com. Neocons and rhinos has come out and said there is no spying. Just period. It's just not happening. And the NSA has come out and said they need more domestic surveillance. In fact, a GOP senator has come out and said domestic surveillance needs to be ramped up. 80% of your phone calls and everything else is recorded on record. Totally illegal. Clapper said there was just none of this happening. And his lawyer came out and said, well, when he said that, he didn't know about the program. He just headed up the National Security Agency. Of course, everybody knows that that's as big a lie as Bill Clinton saying he didn't have sex with that woman. It's all games. And our story is linked on drudgereport.com. Special for... Well, there's now newscast where special forces are training with local police basically for house raids, snatch and grabs, gun confiscations in South Carolina. We now learn the Jade Helm commander is actually over a plan for a domestic takeover. That's all on Infowars.com with the videos and the documents. But don't worry, George Bush told us 9 years ago there was no illegal NSA spying, period, inside the U.S. And now Senator Marco Rubio, the darling of the Republican forces trained with cops for house-to-house raids. And then they admit under Northcom that is their new mission. But here is the senator. This is worse than Obi-Wan Kenobi saying these aren't the droids you're looking for. Move along. Move along. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Move along. But, we laugh at that. We're not. The listeners